Numbskull News, and today we got to talk about Bill Belichick. The word around the campfire, the rumor, the innuendos on Twitter, small reporting turning into bigger reporting that there's trouble in paradise, there's trouble with the Tar Heels and Bill Belichick. It appears he may not see the end of the season. Oh, the embarrassment is starting to set in. Rumor of recruiting violations. And of course, there's recruiting violations. The man doesn't know what the hell he's doing in college football. It's very different than NFL football. Don't ask me, ask Nick Saban. The greatest example I could ever give you. The greatest college football coach of all time goes to the NFL and completely shits the bed. Quits, comes back, finds an opening at Alabama, who's been struggling for a while, and creates a freaking dynasty. Because he's built for the college game. Bill Belichick is built for the NFL. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's never recruited one damn player in college ball. Doesn't know what he's doing. So, of course, there's recruiting violations. And let's not forget the embarrassment of the offseason with Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's granddaughter. Sorry. His girlfriend, the Gash, making an ass out of herself, just completely embarrassing a Hall of Fame level head coach all offseason, embarrassing the program, embarrassing Tarheel Nation the entire offseason. And then, the season starts and it gets actually worse. It just compounds the embarrassment. So now if there's recruiting violations, this guy's got to go. I mean, we're like half the season in. Oh, this is... I mean, let me break it down a little further. Remember, the school president, the athletic director, people on that level were having to have a discussion, open discussion with the faculty and staff of one of the most prestigious academic universities in the country, trying to explain why they're having to pull tens of millions of extra dollars out of their ass for the football program, for Belichick, for his staff, for the weight training stuff and all that shit. And these people are livid pissed. You know what it's like? It's like a players-only meeting. It ain't never good to have a players-only meeting. Number one, it never results in jack shit. Number two, that means your season's probably already in the toilet. And that happened in the off season. That's what that felt like. Are heads going to roll beyond Bill Belichick over at UNC? Maybe. Like I said, this is faculty and staff. You know, they may have some chancellors on their side. There's probably other big-time people in the university. They're like, what in the hell are we doing? This is a basketball school. Number one, it's one of the greatest academic schools in the country. Number two, it's the greatest basketball school in the country. We already spend millions of dollars on our athletic department. And as far as our athletic front porch, that's our basketball program. The Tar Heels basketball program. The bluest of the blue bloods. That's what leads our way. Why are we spending all this damn money on football? Why? To get the couple of other conferences? It doesn't matter to those people because they know that their research makes more money than a football program can ever bring into UNC. That's what I've been told over and over and over again. And you know what? It's probably true. You know what? They probably have a point. What are we doing? And the maddening thing is, They didn't bring in Bill Belichick for his football acumen. They'll tell you that. They'll try to convince you of that. But how can that logically be true when you're talking about a guy who's over the hill, past his prime, 73 years old, an NFL head coach, a legendary NFL head coach who's never coached in college ball? And these are two different worlds. You know that. I know that. All football fans know. Every level. I don't care if it's Pee Wee football, Pop Warner, middle school, high school, college, NFL. All of those are different worlds, and there's different expectations. The jobs are just different. Like I said, there's been a plethora of guys, great coaches in college ball, go to the NFL and fail, and vice versa. Because it's just different. It's not the same world. Not the same player in the same stage of life. You got to deal with them differently. And that's a hard adjustment, especially after decades in one level or the other. And so if they brought in Bill Belichick and it wasn't for his football acumen, why would you bring him in? For the ratings. Holy shit, yeah, for the ratings. They wanted that Dion pop, remember? But remember what happened with Dion. You didn't have all the off-the-field, off-season bullshit of Dion dating his granddaughter, or someone who could be the granddaughter, embarrassing himself with that shit, having her embarrass him with that shit. You didn't have any of that with Dion. You didn't. I mean, you got a lot of gold chains. You got a lot of bluster, a lot of talk. You got a webcam series. You got all this kind of stuff, but you didn't have that embarrassment, though. And then how'd the season start? Same opponent. TCU. Well, Dion, hey, that was an entertaining game. That was a hell of a game. That was a fun game. That game was actually competitive. And Dion and the Colorado Buffaloes actually won that game. They won their first 3 games. On the other side of the fence, Bill Belichick. And it wasn't just an embarrassing, it's the most embarrassing start of a college career that has ever existed. I'm sure there's bigger ass whoopings that have happened to first-time head coaches, or at least college football head coaches. I'm sure that there have been worse beatdowns. But look at the overall environment. Look at what ESPN did to promote this shit. I mean, you had Hollywood A-listers there. You had former Patriot players there. You had legends. You had Michael freaking Jeffrey Jordan in the house, in the box seat, watching the horror show. It was already going to be an embarrassing beatdown, but now a giant audience being pushed by ESPN because they thought you would get the same result because it's a Big 12 team. They thought it'd be the same kind of Colorado Buffalo amazing game just because it's Bill Belichick on the sideline. But there's no Shedeur Sanders in sight. Yeah, even though Shedeur had his flaws, he would score. He would find a way to make it at least respectable. But they hired him for the ratings. They pissed off staff and faculty. They go against the grain on what makes UNC, which is what? Number 1, academics. Number 2, basketball. Why? I keep hearing, and everybody has reported on Twitter, on YouTube, national journalists, national online journalists, syndicated radio programs, TV programs, Fox, ESPN, you name it, every platform, all of them say the same thing. UNC is the top choice outside of Notre Dame for the Big Ten and the top choice for the SEC. They're going to have their pick. Really? Why make that higher at that dollar level, that investment in Bill Belichick, if you know you're getting in to the Big Ten or the SEC? Why risk the embarrassment? Why piss off faculty and staff of one of the most prestigious academic universities in the country? Why do that? Why make enemies in your own universe? Why? Because you don't know that you have an invite to the Big Ten or the SEC. You haven't been given any assurances at all of a landing spot in the Big Two. That's why you made the move. And just in case you think I'm just being some kind of conspiracy theorist, or I have this deep-rooted hate for the Tarheel Nation, which I don't. I don't at all. I feel horrible for you guys, for you real fans of the basketball, the football, the baseball, everything. You Tarheel faithful out there. I feel bad for you guys because, you've been hoodwigged. You've been bamboozled into this shit. And it's not fair. It's not right. But you're also, I believe, you're being told bad information. Bad information about where UNC is going to end up, where their potential landing spots or spot is. Because you don't make those moves. You don't piss off your inner circle with the Tar Heels, University of North Carolina, all those academic people. You don't piss off. You don't piss on people's shoes like that if you already got a spot. And it's like I said, it's not just this. Another story that came out last week. UNC, Clemson, colluding, trying to make their plans together to get somewhere. Because, you hear about a proper blend, right? So Clemson doesn't really bring the academics. They don't really bring a lot of basketball. But UNC can bring that. Now, UNC doesn't really bring a lot of the football. But Clemson can bring that. So you blend that together and all of a sudden maybe... But why would the Tar Heels bother being associated or dealing with Clemson as far as realignment is concerned? Why bother if you're the number one ad? And you say, well, come on, numbskull. They just don't know. Or they're trying to cover their bases. Bullshit, they wouldn't know. Everybody's talking. The Big Ten, the SEC, and all these ACC schools, they're talking. I guarantee you some of them talk to the Big 12. I guarantee you Louisville has had conversations with the Big 12. Nothing official, but those talks have happened. Hey, Colorado, first team to come to the Big 12 of the Four Corners. They talked for months and months and months before any kind of announcement ever was made. Months. Texas and OU going to the SEC. They talked for probably about a year before anyone knew jack shit. USC, I guarantee you, months and months and months before anything was close to happening. So no, there's been talks. And no, you don't have a school president or an AD just pull up to Greg Sankey's office right in front of everybody. That's not how the shit works. It's back channels. You keep it quiet, on the down low. It's been happening. It's been happening. I'm trying to tell you. And anybody out there that actually does have sources would probably say, yeah, there's probably been some talk. Every journalist worth their salt would tell you the same damn thing. So if everybody's talking, everyone's doing the chatter, Big Ten, SEC, doing the chatter, you would think if UNC was the number one ad, they may have been clued in by now. That, hey, we want you. Because Notre Dame already has a spot, and they've had it for years and years and years. It has never changed, and it hasn't changed, and it won't change. Why? Because they bring the value. UNC brings value, but they don't bring what's most important right now, which is football value. Now, I will say this. If there is actually, and I don't have any reason to doubt this, but if there's actually something to the University of North Carolina and Clemson actually working together to possibly get into the SEC, that might work. I don't believe UNC by themselves could get it done. And apparently they don't believe it either. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They don't know that they can get into the Big Two. That's why they've done all this shit. That's why they've done Belichick. That's why they're talking to Clemson. That's why they didn't come out and sue the ACC themselves. They spent money. They spent big money on lawyers researching some realignment whatevers. But they never took the extra step. And if they had joined in a lawsuit or done their own lawsuit against the ACC, it would have crippled the ACC. Florida State and Clemson, they won. They won. They would have won quicker and maybe even a better deal than what they already got if UNC had joined in. But they didn't. Why not? You have a place to go, right? You have a spot secured just like Notre Dame. All you have to do is say yes. Right? Maybe not. Because it doesn't make any logical sense, does it? Why spend tens of millions of dollars investing in a 73-year-old Bill Belichick who's dating somebody who's around the same age as a granddaughter or great-granddaughter? Why deal with that embarrassment? Why deal with all the bullshit? Why? If you know you're already in, why piss off your faculty and staff like that? If you already know you got the in, you got the invite. You're just waiting. Basically, they're just waiting for the right time. Because you don't know. You've been given no assurances. You probably have been told, hey, we love you. Presidents in the Big Ten, presidents of the SEC, they love you. But it's not all up to them. There are media partners to be considered. And quite frankly, the Big Ten's media partners, they need big football brands for big football matchups. That's what sells. That's the money. That's what the Big Ten's, and the Big Ten makes more money than anybody. They make the highest dollar with their three media partners, and that's based off of what? Premium matchups. I've said it so many times, and so many times, you guys, you don't want to get it, and I guess you don't want to get it on purpose. But it's sound logic. Follow the money. Period. So why make that investment? Why piss off faculty and staff? Why talk to Clemson at all? Why are you working anything out with somebody who's academically inferior to you? I mean, not like y'all are enemies or anything, but if you already have the inroad, you don't need to work on getting Clemson in. Let them figure it out for themselves. Take care of you, right? Well, that's not what's happening. And it's not like they're trying to be generous. Oh, hey, Clemson, we feel bad for you. Come on. Bullshit. Because they probably would do that for UVA or Duke. But why do it for Clemson? It makes zero sense. Unless you've been told you're not automatically getting an invite. We're going to have to see some things. We got to see bigger viewership numbers. We got to be able to show media partners that you can provide a couple premium matchups. You could provide some viewership. You could provide some money. You could earn this money. Because ESPN, while the SEC is not in the state of North Carolina, ESPN is in the state of North Carolina. And they don't want to pay SEC prices for any team in North Carolina. Why? That's and it's not just the prices of this media deal, the prices for the next one, which will go up for the SEC. It'll go up big time. Why give them that money? Even on a half share, that's a hell of a lot more money than they're making right now. Why do that? Why move them anywhere before 2036? Now at 2036, will they want them to move them to the SEC? Why move to the SEC? They don't have the viewership for that. It's a waste of money for ESPN. Look, all I'm telling you is these moves don't look like moves of a team that knows that they're going to go someplace for all this more money, or else they wouldn't be doing these moves. It makes no logical sense. Now, you can put in the comment and try to explain this shit away. Does it make any sense to me? And this Bill Belichick thing, that has backfired out the ass. Out the ass. I don't know if heads are going to roll over it, but they probably should. There's some faculty and staff who I'm sure they wouldn't mind seeing a couple heads roll down the pyramid. I mean, they'd rather see a few extra tens of millions of dollars come into the academic departments. Since they make more money than the damn football team, that's where their logic is. Belichick was an act of desperation. And that's what happens when you make decisions based off of desperation. Desperately trying to get to the Big Ten. Desperately trying to get to the SEC. So go ahead. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I mean, I don't know how you fight that. I don't know how you explain this shit away. It's all I'm saying. It's been ridiculous. Still ridiculous. And yeah, I'm sticking to it. Because what else am I supposed to think? Because I do think. I don't just go with what I'm told, what's reported all the time. Not when the shit don't make any logical sense. Anyway. Thanks for watching this crap. Hope you liked it. I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.